Premier Sports plays, and it's another slate of fixtures in the English Premier League. And the first game starts this evening from Molineux, where Wolves host Leeds. I think this is a very, very difficult game to call. I think a lot of the games in the Premier League are very, very difficult to call. And I'm going to sit on the fence here because my strategy in English soccer is whenever the bookmakers cannot split the two sides, as they can't tonight between Wolves and Leeds, the draw is always the best betting option of the two and always the better price. So I'm going to go for a draw here. I think it could be high scoring. And I'm going to go for a bit of pizza money on the old Desmond Tutu, a 2-2 draw at a monster price. Moving on to Saturday, and the first game of four matches on Saturday is on the south coast of England, where Southampton host an informed Chelsea side. Southampton, for me, are one of the first teams in the Premier League to really give up for the season. They have nothing to play for in the pursuit for European football, and they're safe in the knowledge that they can't get relegated. Chelsea, under new manager Thomas Tuchel, have been absolutely flying, and defensively, they are very, very strong. They still think they can make Champions League football. They still think they can push Manchester City and maybe even make a title race, but probably best they can hope for is a second spot. And I think Chelsea represent the best bet on the Premier League this weekend away at Southampton at around about -125. I also like Chelsea to win to nil, either 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, because I think Southampton are a team to oppose. At 12 o'clock Eastern time, Burnley host West Brom in what promises to be a very boring match for me. Burnley at home are drawing a lot of football matches, and to bet them at +110, you're going to have to be very brave. But saying that, West Brom just concede so many goals, but their last match was a draw against Manchester United. Again, I think this is tricky. It doesn't suit either of the two teams. They both need to win. But I think the draw here at around about +275 is too big to ignore. Liverpool against Everton at 5:30 is the biggest game of the Premier League this weekend. And Liverpool bounced back in some style in their Champions League win in Germany in midweek. If Jurgen Klopp's side can play like that, they will win this game against their fierce rivals. Liverpool haven't lost to Everton in 24 matches, and the last time Everton won here, share was top of the Billboard charts with I Believe. If you believe Everton can win this game, you can get 6-1 for your money. I don't think they can. I believe Liverpool will hit a bit of winning form, and I like Liverpool -1 goal on the Asian handicap, which is a push if Liverpool win by exactly 1 goal. It's a big game for Liverpool because their next two fixtures are against Sheffield United and Fulham. And 3 wins here can see them push up for Champions League spots, and I think they will win. Fulham v Sheffield United is a battle at the bottom of the table in the late gaming over here in England, and I think this one here is going to be low scoring. Nothing much between the two sides. Fulham again have been drawing lots of games. Sheffield United create chances, but they don't score. I believe under 2.5 goals could be the angle in this one. And again, at the price, approaching 3-1, the draw makes some appeal to me between two very, very evenly matched sides. It's not the result that either would want, but at 3-1, it's a bet that I can't ignore. Moving on to Sunday in a London derby in the early kickoff, which is 7 o'clock Eastern time. West Ham hosts Tottenham at the London Stadium. West Ham have been the surprise package in the Premier League this season under David Moyes, but West Ham will ultimately do West Ham things and lose games. Tottenham come here on the back of a very impressive win in the Europa League, and I feel that Jose Mourinho may prioritise that competition rather than the league form. I think this again is a tricky match to call, and I'm unfortunately going to say it, but I think the draw here again at +275 represents some great value against two teams with nothing between them in the betting. Staying with the draw thing, we go to Aston Villa Leicester. This is another local derby, another game where bookies can't split the two sides, and another game where at 275 the draw just screams out to be bet. I don't really like betting all these draws, but when you see prices like this, you have to capitalise, and I think it's a very, very even looking slate in the Premier League this weekend. One game which doesn't look even is Manchester City against Arsenal. Manchester City have a huge Champions League game in midweek against Borussia Mönchengladbach. That's easy for me to say. But they're running away with the Premier League title, 10 points clear at the top of the table. And I think they will take another step towards another Premier League title with a win here. Arsenal must be exhausted after their efforts against Benfica in midweek. They got a huge return leg at the Emirates in the Europa League. And judging by the team Mikel Arteta put out in that match, That is his priority. I fancy Manchester City to win this game. You can bet them at minus about minus 175, which may be good for some big hitters. But why don't we just bet them minus 1 goal and get a bit more juice in the price? Manchester City have played Arsenal twice this season and beat them on both occasions. Their record against them in the Premier League is exceptional. Manchester City, I fancy for the win. Manchester United against Newcastle. I gave you the best bet last week was Chelsea to win to 0 against Newcastle. And I believe Manchester United to win to 0 against Newcastle again is the way to profit. Manchester United pretty much ended their Europa League tie with a convincing 4-0 win in Sociedad in Spain last night. And I think the second leg is a non-event. So they can throw everything at this game and really try to push on and try to challenge Manchester City for any slip-ups at the top of the table. I believe Manchester United will win this minus 1.5 goals. I think they'll win by more than 2 goals. And I also believe that Manchester United will win to 0. So 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. I said last week that Newcastle, without Callum Wilson, do not offer a goal threat. They didn't offer a goal threat against Chelsea. They're not going to offer a goal threat against Manchester United. And finally, on Monday, it's the A27 Derby. It's a road that stretches over 60 kilometres, and they call this a derby between Brighton and Crystal Palace. No rivalry in England is as fierce, I believe, or some of them will say they are, but very fierce between these two sides. They absolutely hate each other, as a matter of fact. And Brighton have only won 1 game at home in the last calendar year, but yet they're minus money to beat Crystal Palace. The reason why? Crystal Palace are dreadful. They're the worst performing team in the Premier League at the moment, and without Wilfried Zaha, their main striker, they never win. They never score without him. I believe Brighton will win this, but would I bet them at minus money? No, I wouldn't. But I would take them with a little bit more juice to win to 0. So 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, whatever to 0, Brighton will win. I also think that under 2.5 goals could be a bet in this match. If you can't get the win to 0, why not have a bit of pizza money on a 1-0 Brighton win or a 2-0 Brighton win? Because I do not believe Crystal Palace will score. That's the weekly Premier League roundup with me, Nigel Seeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Seeley_Nigel, or go to premiersportsplays.com to get all my tips on all the leagues across England and European football as well. Good luck.